Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Bickle. We begin with the most intense heat wave this country has seen in years. It's expected to hit 90 degrees in every state but Alaska today and tomorrow. In a moment, we'll show you who's suffering and how they're surviving. But we begin with meteorologist Ed Russo, who shows us what's behind this major heat wave.
Thanks, Mike. A very impressive heat wave unfolding across the central U.S. And the reason why we have such oppressive heat is because we have a very large upper-level ridge that's centered over the U.S. So all disturbances are rotating clockwise around it, missing all areas that actually need relief from the heat, which is pretty much the Central Plains into the mid-Mississippi Valley and Ohio Valley. On the radar picture, we are seeing the exact same thing. All the showers and storms rotating clockwise around that upper-level ridge. This is what it looks like graphically, area of upper-level high pressure, and underneath, that's where we have the core of the hottest air. We're seeing temperatures, actual temperatures in the upper 90s to lower 100s, and combine that with the humidity, heat index values upwards of 120 degrees. That is dangerous heat, and that is occurring from the Dakotas southward through Oklahoma and eastward through the Ohio Valley, and this is eventually going to become a problem for the East Coast as well. But there are some tips you can use to beat the heat. Drink a lot of water, stay away from the pop, certainly the alcohol, eat a lot of meals, but eat small ones, not large ones. They tend to overwork your metabolism, and that will in turn make you sweat more, and then you'll lose more water. Wear light-colored clothing. Darker colored clothing will make you hotter because it absorbs more radiation. And always good advice, stay in the AC. Mike?
All right, Ed, thanks. While these high temperatures have some businesses melting, others have been able to cash in on the heat. Tanya De Jesus has more from Sioux City, Iowa.
While most of us dread the extreme heat and humidity, some local businesses like the Riverside Pool are cashing in big on this heat. More people than usual have been coming to cool off, so many that more staff was needed.
We had the opportunity yesterday to staff some of our pools a little bit heavier. We were able to send staff from some pool over to other pools as well to help cover that.
And even the lifeguards are having trouble keeping up with the crowds.
It is a lot more stressful, especially with a lot of little ones coming, a lot of parents coming. We have even people coming from out of town. So we have a lot of people to keep our eyes on and a lot of people to watch.
Another business that's profiting from the heat, you guessed it, Dairy Queen. On Saturday alone, the store on Hamilton Boulevard doubled what it usually makes. And it's been the same story for Rainbow Snow that sells snow cones along Morningside Drive.
On a hot day like this, it will refresh them because it's so cold. I mean, what's better than having a rainbow snow on a hot day like this?
Meanwhile, it's not just people who are feeling the heat these days. Animals at the Henry Dorley Zoo in Omaha are dealing with the triple-digit temps as well. Some of the animals are more acclimated to the heat and temperatures are not an issue, but zoo officials are still taking steps to help many of the zoo's residents stay cool.
For any that we think this might be reaching towards their extremes or upper levels, we generally provide things that are water sources or shade. For instance, in this case, in the Indian rhino, you'll see the animals in the mud hole.
Zoo officials say all animals have fresh water, although many species of animals naturally go through the entire day in the heat without it. Media mogul Rupert Murdoch testifying before the British Parliament over a phone hacking scandal. He and his son apologized profusely for the invasion of privacy. His company already accepted liability. Murdoch called today the most humble day of his life, but he did not personally take responsibility. Murdoch put that on subordinates, one of whom has already been arrested. Reporters of the News of the World are accused of hacking into private voicemail accounts with the help of corrupt police. The scandal could threaten Murdoch's media outlets in the U.S., which include the Wall Street Journal and the Fox News Channel. Well, the heat wave is affecting parts even further north as we show you in our look of stories from around the world. Time for Global News Now. Canada is baking in 90-degree heat. Winnipeg has crossed the 90-degree mark for 3 straight days. The heat wave also caused thousands of people to lose their power this weekend. It's a heat wave, at least by Arctic standards. This video comes from Reykjavik, Iceland, where natives are sweltering in 70-degree heat. Usually temperatures don't climb above 60 degrees there in the summer. Egypt's interim prime minister is being treated for exhaustion at a Cairo hospital. His spokesman says he did not suffer a stroke, as reported earlier. Doctors are performing brain and cardiac tests. He was named prime minister in March. He leads a caretaker government under the military council that took power in February when former President Hosni Mubarak resigned in the face of a popular revolt. A riveting competition in England. It's the annual World Snail Racing Championships in Norfolk. 120 snails vying for the crown, or their owners were doing the vying anyway. The snails blaze a trail from the inner red ring to the outer red ring 13 inches away. The winner? A snail named Zoomer, owned by a happy 6-year-old boy. And that's your Global News Now. Well, it's the end of an era. For the final time, we're seeing a U.S. space shuttle undock from the International Space Station. The shuttle Atlantis separated from the station early this morning. The astronauts were about 250 miles above the Earth's surface when they performed that maneuver. The shuttle is expected to return home Thursday. This is the last shuttle mission in the program's 30-year history. A High Springs, Florida teenager is back home safely more than 2 years after she ran away. Turns out Caitlin Fleming was in Southern California. As George Solis from our Gainesville affiliate GTN reports, a YouTube message from her mom and a change of heart brought her home.
Hello, my name is Susie Fleming, and this is my daughter Caitlin Fleming. We're from the High Springs, Gainesville, Florida area.
Susie Fleming never lost hope this YouTube message to her daughter would lead to this joyful reunion. But getting there was a long 3,000-mile journey, one that placed them on opposite sides of the country, not once, but twice.
She was having a difficult time transitioning into the teenage years. And I guess she felt that she wanted to be on her own.
Caitlin Fleming hitchhiked all the way to California.
No money, no suitcase, only the clothes on her back.
4 months went by before she made contact with her mother.
She didn't want to come home, but that she wanted me to know she was okay. But as a mother with a 13-year-old daughter, it's my responsibility to take care of her.
Reluctantly, the team came home, but disappeared again a few days later.
She made her way back to California, and she was taken in by a family that did not know how old she was and did not know her real identity. And they just took her in and loved her and accepted her for who she was.
Fast forward more than 2 years.
We miss you, Katie, and we want you very much to come home.
Caitlin's new family saw the plea online and made contact with Caitlin's mother. The rest is history.
She has changed so much, and she is more the woman that I would have ever wanted her to be. So although it's been very painful for her to be gone, it's the best thing that could have ever happened to her.
Susie says she doesn't think her daughter will run away again. She hopes her story serves as an inspiration to other families coping with a missing child, as a reminder that miracles do happen. George Solis reporting for INN News.
Susie says while she was away, Caitlin learned a few cooking skills. She hopes to open a restaurant with her daughter in the near future. Well, traveling with your dog this summer, you could have trouble if you're planning on flying one airline. Look at some new restrictions. And in addition to the heat, a massive dust storm is worrying doctors in part of the Southwest. That and more coming up.